North Korea fired several ballistic missiles into the sea Monday, South Korea's military said, hours after South Korean and U.S. troops kicked off their large annual combined drills, which the North views as an invasion rehearsal. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the missile firings, North Korea's fifth missile launch event this year, were detected from the north-southwestern Hwanghae province but gave no further details such as how far they flew. It said South Korea bolstered its surveillance posture and is closely coordinating with the United States. Earlier Monday, the South Korean and U.S. militaries began their annual Freedom Shield Command Post exercise, their first major combined training of President Donald Trump's second term. The Allies have already been engaging in diverse field training exercises in connection with the Freedom Shield training. North Korea's foreign ministry warned Monday the latest training risks triggering physical conflict on the Korean peninsula. It called the drills an aggressive and confrontational war rehearsal, and reiterated leader Kim Jong-un's stated goals for a radical growth of his nuclear force to counter what he claims as growing threats posed by the U.S. and its Asian allies. This year's training came after the South Korean and U.S. militaries paused live-fire training while Seoul investigates how its fighter jets mistakenly bombed a civilian area during a warm-up drill last week. About 30 people were injured, 2 of them seriously, when 2 South Korean Kf-16 fighter jets mistakenly fired 8-82 Malawian Kwachas bombs on a civilian area in Pocheon, a town near the North Korean border, on Thursday. The bombing occurred while South Korean and U.S. forces were engaging in a live-fire drill ahead of the Freedom Shield exercise. The initial assessment from the South Korean Air Force was that one of the Kf-16 pilots entered the wrong coordinates and failed to visually verify the target before proceeding with the bombing. The second pilot had the correct coordinates but focused only on maintaining flight formation and dropped the bombs on the first pilot's instructions without recognizing the target was wrong, according to the content of the latest briefing provided to the Associated Press. General Lee Young-soo, Chief of Staff of the South Korean Air Force, bowed and apologized Monday over the injuries and property damage caused by the bombing, which he said should have never happened and must never happen again. Both the South Korean and U.S. militaries have halted all live-fire exercises in South Korea following the mistake. South Korean military officials say live-fire training will resume after they complete the investigation of the bombing and form preventative steps. The South Korean Air Force earlier suspended the training flights of all its planes too but lifted the steps on Monday, except aircraft affiliated with the unit the 2 Kf-16s belong to.
U.S. President Donald Trump's decision not to share intelligence data with Ukraine has not stopped Ukrainian HIMARS from targeting Russian targets, as there are alternative sources of obtaining the necessary information, said Ukrainian military and electronic warfare and communications specialist Sergei Beskresnov, callsign Flash. It seemed that everything, HIMARS are not flying anywhere, are not shooting, everything is gone. In fact, we were really disconnected from the system that provided us with precise coordinates of satellite targets. At the same time, we continue to use HIMARS to carry out further attacks based on our own intelligence, from our reconnaissance satellites, from our internal and external reconnaissance based on UAVs. Therefore, our HIMARS are working and will continue to work. There is no reason to panic. We will find information. We will receive it from partners. Great Britain, Germany have their own reconnaissance satellites, the fighter said. According to him, Western media outlets are now making a lot of scary propaganda, which is then widely decimated by Kremlin channels and bots. But I remain more optimistic. We have European partners who will help us and are already helping. We are already receiving information that the MiG has taken off, that the Shaheeds have been launched. At the same time, it is officially believed that the US is not giving us any information, but we continue to receive it, Flash emphasized. He also added that the European OneWeb project could well replace Starlink in Ukraine. At the moment, 400 satellites out of 600 planned have been launched, and this system can provide the same speed as Starlink. The only drawback is that these terminals are expensive, up to $5,000, and they are noticeably larger than Starlink, but this is not a hindrance, the military man said. In addition, as the military man stated, Ukraine has access to the Finnish IC satellite group. These are SAR satellites that can see the surface of the Earth during the day and night, in fog, in any weather. They can find targets through clouds. They can see even through foliage, camouflage nets, and we practically receive images of the entire surface of the planet with a fairly good resolution several times a day. Yes, this is not an online broadcast. We do not see how the Pentagon can see online how the lid opens in Kapustin Yar and the Oreshnik is brought to combat readiness, but we still have the intelligence data, Flash explained. Thanks to this, Ukraine can not only see the movements of Russian forces, but also select targets, the military man emphasized. According to him, about 7 to 8 countries have SAR satellites. As reported, the United States recently partially suspended the exchange of intelligence data with Ukraine. According to media reports, the United States has suspended the exchange of what it calls lethal data, in particular data for targeting systems such as HIMARS. At the same time, the transfer of defensive data, allowing the Ukrainians to defend themselves, is still ongoing. Later, it became known that the American aerospace company Maxar Technologies had cut off access to its satellite images for Ukraine due to an administrative request. However, sometime later, it was clarified that it was free access to the images that had been closed. Therefore, authorized Ukrainian users of Maxar services can still receive the satellite images they need from anywhere in the world, including Ukraine and the Russian Federation, for a fee.